What's up, guys? Welcome to A Reseller's Life. My name is Chris. I go by Daily Refinement Online. In today's episode, I want to go over a 4-step plan to build financial freedom through building an online resale shop. I'll explain exactly what that means, and I have some huge news in this show, so I'll go over that in the beginning of the episode. So make sure you smash the like button and consider subscribing if you like information delivered to your inbox about how to build an online store and tips and tricks to speed up that process. So let's get into it. Step number 1 is really important, and it's the most important one, and it's that you need a really strong why to get you all the way to the finish line of running an online store. It's really important because the idea of just getting by reselling is not strong enough to go through all the ups and downs of building a supply list, figuring out how to sell something, and building enough inventory to the point where you're getting enough sales to pay your bills. The freedom, I'll tell you, is a strong enough why, meaning you no longer have to work for someone ever again. I am in that position because I know how to fish, meaning I know how to resell. I can identify an item to sell. I can find out where that item comes from. I know how to write the titles, the photos, the descriptions, and price it correctly so it will actually sell. These are really important things that you need to learn along the way. That's why you need a really strong why. So why that you never have to work a 9 to 5 again or work for somebody else is really strong. Even stronger would be like, you can use this to take care of your family. Maybe you can use reselling to build up enough assets and income to take care of your family, even if something happens to you. I feel like family is the strongest why, because most people in the end can serve other people better than they can serve themselves. This is why most people are better at having a job, because they show up, they do their 9 to 5, and then they go home. But when you're an entrepreneur and you have to make all of those rules for yourself, it's much more difficult than people think. So you need a really, really strong reason to do that. So you guys know I'm just recently married. I've been married for a little over a year now. And since I got married, my income actually more than doubled. And I think the reason is because I'm no longer just working for one person, I'm working for a team of 2. So my why actually got a lot stronger because I was thinking to myself, what happens if something happens to me? I like to have things set up, and I was just a lot more motivated. So that brings me to my super huge news, which is that I am having a kid. So that is super exciting for me. We've been trying to have a kid for a little bit, and now hopefully, knock on wood, everything is going to be healthy. So let me know in the comment section below if you think it's going to be a boy or a girl. That's super exciting for me. And just like when I got married, I anticipate that my income is going to go up again, because for me personally, I'm more accountable to other people than I am for myself, just because I feel like that extra responsibility comes with a lot more seriousness and a lot more attention to my actual time. So now that you have a super strong why and you know why you're doing all this madness, let's get straight into tip number 2. And this is stage 2 of the 4-step plan, which is, what does it look like when it's done? Okay, so this might be a good time to pause the video and get a notebook or a piece of paper, or if you're driving, just bookmark the spot and come back to it. This is the plan, right? You need to know what it looks like when it's done. This is the most important part, because this is where you enter in as the destination for your GPS. For most people, it's $1,000 per week income. That's the goal. Now, this is what happens along the way. Most people get distracted by obstacles on the way to this goal, which is $75,000 listed. The majority of people can learn to find a category where they sell 20% sell-through rate. That's what that means is, if you have 5 items, you sell 1 every single month, and over the course of 5 months, you sell all of it. 1 divided by 5 is 20%. So what this looks like with a 75,000 item store, you guys need to think about strategically what items you want to sell along the way. Let's say you pick items that are $30. Most of the items that people donate at a thrift store are under $30. That's just psychology. People aren't really donating stuff that's more than that. So your job is to go into these places, garage sales, thrift stores, liquidation, closeout, salvage, whatever, and find items that are as close or as high of an average sale price as possible, and then find a way to consistently get those items into your store. So 2,500 items in your store at $30 a piece is 75,000 items. I'm sorry, $75,000. Of that 75,000, if 20% sells, that's 15,000 a month in sales. If 1/3 is profit, 1/3 is the cost of goods sold, and 1/3 is the expenses associated with selling them, like the shipping, boxes, marketing costs, you're left with $5,000 profit at the end. Now, the reason why I use this analogy, of course, there's people who can do it faster. What that means is you either find stuff that's more expensive. That's one way to do it. So less items, less work. Also, you could find things that sell faster. As a perfect example of this, if you sold iPhones, right? You should be able to sell 100% of your inventory every single month. You'd only need $15,000 in sales at 1/3 profit to make 5,000. If you were selling iPhones and you price them right on the market and you describe them accurately, you only need $15,000 worth of inventory to have $15,000 worth of sales, because the market is so hot right now. We're talking about this in the fall of 2020. The iPhone 12 is about to come out, which means it's the best time to start flipping phones, because people are exchanging old phones to get the newest one. That's what happens every single year. This is the time where the market becomes super soft for the older phone. And what that means is there's a too much supply of the older phone, and it becomes insanely hot for the market of the brand new phone, which will be hard to get in the beginning. It wouldn't be uncommon to sell the new iPhone for $200, $300 over retail if you can get it into the hands of the customer on the very first day. There's so many people who will pay to be the first person to adopt something. So you have to understand, okay, what market am I going to pick? Am I going to pick cell phones where it's super hot? Then you're gonna have to spend most of your time sourcing, because it's very difficult to find cell phones at volume, at scale, $15,000 worth. Take the opposite approach. Let's say that you wanted to sell clothes. So clothing, if you want to approach clothing, I would say like half of all online sales volume wise is clothing. If you go to a thrift store, more than half the store is clothing. You're never going to have a supply problem if you decide you want to sell clothing. It's just going to be, how good are you at sorting? There's a lot of inventory that comes in. Can you quickly identify the home runs and take those home and list them quickly and efficiently? The clothing game is all about efficiency and processes. The reason why I picked it is so I don't need to always be chasing whatever is hot. I can just order inventory and then just get the listing and reach my income goal. So it's important to think about, what does it look like when it's done? For me personally, I've been thinking about this for 4 years, and what I've come up with is I've decided on a finish line, at least for now, which is 1,000 items sold per week. That's where I want to be. That's 52,000 items sold per year. I'm hoping to average at least $10 profit. That would be a $500,000 income from the reselling part of my business. That's my finish line. What it looks like when it's done, I need 2 more people. I'm currently doing all the shipping, so I'd like to hire someone to do that. And then I need to hire 1 more person to help me bump from 700 to 800 listings a week to 1,000. So that's where I'm going. That's my finish line. So let's get into the last 2 steps of building this. Okay, step number 3 is accountability. Once we get the goal of listing a certain number of items equals a certain number of income, it's just about doing the work day after day after day. This is the grind part of it, but with time and with some practice, you can actually enjoy this part of it. So for me, the way that I want to do it, and the reason why I capped it at 1,000 sales per week and I don't want to keep going, is because I'd like to work on replenishables. And you guys know, accountability wise for me, I personally know myself, I'm more accountable to others than I am for myself. So the way that I set that up is I actually took a job. So I'm going to be working for a replenishables seller that only has about 50 items but does several $1,000s a day in sales. Now, of course, this requires usually a more retail type operation, right? So you are a licensed distributor of something, you have a brick and mortar. There are certain steps that you need to do in order to buy brand new items at quantity. It takes a lot more money, a lot more capital. But for me, I'd like to be a well-rounded entrepreneur when it comes to e-commerce. So I want to learn about this. So I always recommend to people, get a day job and learn on somebody else's dime. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to work for a big store, hopefully take them to the next level. I help them get from like $2,000 a day in sales to maybe $4,000 a day in sales in 6 weeks. I help them bump. And it made me think, wow, I'm actually potentially a better number 2 or number 3 or number 5 at a company than I am actually working for myself. So I would like to learn about replenishables. So that accountability is easier when you work for somebody else. So I'm going to work for this person X amount of hours per week on their store, show up. And once you build that schedule, that's really how you do it. I just started that accountability group with Tech and Sports. You guys know my friend. He has 25,000 listings on eBay. And over time, he has increased the number of listings that he's posted. And back in the day, it used to be, actually, to be frank, kind of annoying that every day he would post 100 listings, 200 listings every single day. Now he's posting 250 listings every single day. At first, that used to kind of bother me, but now I'm inspired by it, because where I'm at now, 10,000 listings, is where he was at 4 years ago when I started. And now he's at 25,000 listings and making multiple millions on eBay. So you just look at it sequentially. take your time, move through the steps, and the most important thing that you can do is just post how many listings went up that day. And it doesn't matter how many you do today, it matters how many you do over the entire course of your reselling career, right? So that consistency, he's listed over 100 items a day for 12 years. Okay, so that's allowed him to buy multiple properties with resale profits. And I think that's where a lot of people want to end up being. He could take, as he says, a 50-year vacation and not have to worry about income because he's got different things set up and different assets set up, right? So that could potentially be the goal, but the accountability is key. So we have a Facebook group that you're welcome to join. It's in the description below. It's also our podcast called the Resellers Podcast. And that is really good. It's just basically the nuts and bolts of get it done, right? Just do it. That's it. That's what we're going to really preach in that group. It's going to be all about what you did in that group. How many did you post today? How did you develop new supply chain? It's just a group of people who get it done, right? So that's one thing I'm doing with him. And accountability is literally the most important part of this, and it's the best form of motivation. If you have just one reseller friend that you can meet with for coffee every single Wednesday and you go over your numbers and you talk about what went well and what didn't go well, that's massive for your psyche. Reselling, as most people have figured out by now, if you've been doing this for any amount of time, you know that it's kind of a solo endeavor, unless you do have a couple of people helping you. But overall, it's not like the workspace where you go to the watering hole and complain about your boss with 9 other people. That doesn't really exist in person. Of course, you can do that online, but I don't get the same vibes as working in person with people. So having that one reseller friend is huge. So I encourage you guys, either reach out to one of my groups or just find people in your local area, ideally that you can meet with in person or now 6 feet from them, and just talk about what went well in your business and what didn't. And that's really going to help you get to that next level. So let's talk about step number 4 now. If you guys are enjoying this type of content, please smash the like button and comment below what your favorite animal is. Mine is an ant. I love how ants operate as one giant superorganism. I kind of feel like that's how humans are. So number 4 is not what you expect. Number 4, for building this business that takes care of you and earns more money than your bills, is actually setting up something to look forward to. This is really important. Without this, you're going to lose steam and you're going to burn out. So what I like to do is a couple of things. One, you can actually change your work environment. If one space is not working for you, then change it up. Go work at a coffee shop. Some people even just get their mind straight in their car. Just change the environment and work in a place that makes you more comfortable. It changes your inspiration or makes it so that you're in a different headspace, because what got you here will not get you there. So it's really important to make sure that you keep yourself motivated, and a change in environment is one way that I do it. And another way to do it, and I think this is a very, very on point way to do it, is because you always talk about motivation. You think about the carrot, which is like something, a reward that you go after, or the stick, something that's going to smash you if you don't actually do what you're supposed to do. So I like to use all of those different tricks, because this, again, like I said, this is a marathon. It takes a long time to get there. So I'm always like fearful that when I go to pay the bill, my credit card bounces. I know that sounds kind of silly, but that, for me, that feeling, that idea of that is kind of embarrassing. And I'm like, okay, got to get work done, right? So that feeling I've been able to bottle, and I just don't want that to ever happen to me in the future, right? Also, on the reward side, I personally like baked goods. So anytime I want to eat carbs, which I don't think it's worth it to live a life without carbs, I just want to earn it. Okay, so make sure that I get X amount of listings done. There's a lady that I talked to that rewards herself with a cookie every 10 listings. That's perfectly fine. Having 10 cookies a day for 100 listings is amazing. You deserve it. You can do whatever you want. Also, for me, the thing that's, as far as reward wise, that motivates me the most is always travel. So with my wife, we've had 2 dates every single week for almost 10 years now. We have done amazing things. We've been on 80 vacations. We've been all around the world. And that is so epic, but it requires a lot of planning. The nice thing about planning a trip is you get to enjoy all the way up to the trip. You enjoy looking forward to that one day when you take off and go do something interesting. We personally like to travel, so it's not really like vacation where you sit on a beach. It's more like exploring a new country, trying different foods, taking classes, going to museums, meeting people in different places. That's what we like to do. You get to enjoy all the way up to the day that you go. When you go, you get to enjoy it, and then you get to share those memories forever. that is really, really motivating to me, and it makes it worth it. That way I can actually look forward to doing something. We went to Japan for 3 weeks, and that was like incredible. I had never taken a vacation that long. And it's really cool looking forward to that time that you spend together in a different place and knowing that this business is going to continue to operate while you're gone. I had somebody ship for me while I went on vacation. That's priceless. Just being able to continue to make money while you are out there doing something different. So we've been all over the world now. Our goal is 2 countries every single year that are new, and also to take about 8 weeks of vacation out of the 52 per year. More than that is kind of exhausting when it comes to travel wise too. So we like to balance. And as you guys know, we're gonna welcome a new member into our family soon. So that maybe our travel days are going to be limited in the future, but appreciate you guys again. Support the channel. I have a reseller field guide for 35 bucks in the description below that helps me make more videos. I apologize for not putting out more content, but it's been a little bit rocky in this beginning part, so I've had to do a little more stuff at home, but again, I'm up for it. I'm down. It's my duty, so I appreciate you guys, and I'm super grateful that you're here. So everyone, until next time, make progress daily.